I was lucky enough to see an early screening of Dumb Money. Is it good? Let's find out right now.
Here, I'm gonna pick a stock and talk about why I think it's interesting, and that stock is GameStop.
Alright, I just got back from watching Dumb Money thanks to Regal's mystery movie. I saw it a couple weeks early, and let me just tell you, this is probably one of the most entertaining movies I've seen this year. Not like one of the best movies in quality, but I will say it's a very entertaining movie, and I thought it was really good. Dumb Money takes us on the journey of when, during COVID, we had the GameStop bettors bet against the Wall Street and flip the script on basically the rich people on Wall Street and get one of the hottest companies basically from the bottom all the way to the top. And Keith Gill was the man who started it all when he invested all of his savings into this. And it's basically aka Roaring Kitty on YouTube. He's like a streamer, a Redditor, all that. He did posts on Wall Street bets on Reddit. That was just a very interesting kind of war zone type of place where everyone just saw him doing him stuff. He posted all of his sheets on there about what he was investing and where he was at. A very interesting story, a very interesting plot. I mean, a lot of people know about this because it happened like right after COVID. It was on the news a lot. A lot of stuff was happening with this stock. Big news, kind of saved GameStop. AMC kind of got on this wave too. It's just huge on how this kind of saved GameStop and made the stock just go up. Right now it's down to like $17 again, but the stock was at a high of like over $400 when this was happening. It's big, yeah, and it's of course based on a true story. It happened in real life. Keith Gill is a real guy. He now has the private life though. He was public on the Reddit page and on his YouTube, but now after all this happened, he's basically having a private life, and you can see at the end of the movie how much profit he made, and it's a lot of money because he started with a main investment of like $53,000, and he's a millionaire now. He's a pretty rich guy now. I was very interested in this movie because I did do a school project on this. I did like a PowerPoint presentation on this story, so it's kind of cool to see a movie being made like pretty quick after this story happened, because it just happened in 2020 2021. So they basically pushed this out in like 2 years. It's kind of crazy how fast it was pushed out. But yeah, as I said, I really enjoyed it a lot. I think it has a lot going for it. Craig Gillespie is behind this one. He also directed I, Tonya, the Cruella movie. I think he might do Cruella 2. I'm not really sure on how that's going to go. But I've enjoyed basically all of his films. I think they're all great. And this one just fits into those films. I think this one has a lot good going for it. It's not a perfect film, like I said, but it's just very entertaining, very fun, very funny. There's a lot of comedic moments that really work for me here. I feel like the first act is really amazing. Second act of this movie kind of slows down a little bit. It loses me at a little bit, but then third act picks back up and it brings me back into the story, which I really appreciated. I thought I was going to fall off a cliff after that second act, but it brought me back into it. Some of the best characters and cast in this movie is probably Paul Dano as our main star, Keith Gill. Paul Dano has been on a roller coaster ride the past 2 years. He played the Riddler, he was in The Fabelmans as Steven Spielberg's dad, and now he's playing a Redditor YouTube star, and it's kind of crazy to see him in this role, and I think he did a great job here. I really liked his performance a lot. It's not going to win an Oscar for it. I thought he did great, though. Shailene Woodley plays his wife in this movie. Shailene Woodley is kind of making a comeback this year. She's in this, she's in Ferrari, she was in a digital movie this year. She's already in like 3 things this year, because she was like kind of invisible the last 4 or 5 years, but now she's kind of making a comeback, so good for her. Seth Rogen is pretty great in a small role. Pete Davidson, though, is great. I love Pete Davidson and everything. I'm a Pete Davidson defender. I think he's hilarious in everything that he does. And I think he's great here. America Ferrera, she's back in this after Barbie. She's pretty great here. I think those are the main cast standouts. Anthony Ramos is also pretty great in here, but he also has a pretty short role in here. So I liked almost everyone in the cast. There's a lot of people in this cast, so you probably know a lot of them in here. The soundtrack of this movie is also pretty great. It's probably one of the best standout moments. Megan Thee Stallion has a great song in here, but probably the biggest moment in here for me was a Kendrick Lamar needle drop. Such a great needle drop to such a famous song. Everyone's going to know this song when you go into it. Soundtrack was off the charts. This is a soundtrack kind of movie because, it's just one of those meme movies and you just got a lot of memes in it. Got a lot of kind of meme popular songs in it. So I thought that was just hilarious and I dug it all up. I think it's all pretty fun and they're kind of just making a joke out of it. but they are being serious with the movie by the end of it. And I think it all worked, especially with the soundtrack here. So overall, I think this movie is a pretty fun time. You know, I went into it not expecting a lot, but I expected a little bit because it did screen at TIFF, but it got good reactions out of TIFF, so I was expecting a little bit, and I was surprised I liked it more than I thought I would. You know, it's not as good as a movie as like The Big Short, because that tackled like a bigger subject of the stock market and it was more serious. But I think that this one is more entertaining and I have a lot more fun with it than The Big Short. So it's not as good of a movie as Big Short, but I think it is more entertaining and more fun. And I think you all like this one. I might go see it again, but I feel like this one's just going to be a fun movie to just put on when you're at your house on like a snowy day, rainy day. It's a fun movie to put on with a great cast. So Dumb Money, I would probably give it like a 7 out of 10. I think it's a very fun time. And I feel like it just has a lot going for it. I think everyone will find something to like for it. And yeah, it's a really great crowd pleaser kind of movie. I really am excited that I got to see it pretty early. But if you guys do see this when it comes out, let me know. What are your thoughts down below in the comments? Make sure you like this video. It helps it a lot. Subscribe to the channel. I upload almost every day. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.